Greetings and welcome back to my channel. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. We are about to dive into episode 4 of Sistas. Now, after this letter is read, will this triangle finally find a resolution and an understanding from Karen and each other? I truly hope so, because it's time for Karen to move on. Let's get into it. Greetings. Welcome back to my channel. Now, where we left off last week, Fatima and Zach were going at it at the gym. She was heated. She was pissed because, Zach called her by Karen's name. And he said, it's one of those slip ups. You always bringing up her name. I was with her for 3 years, but stop being mad. It was just an accident. I have no feelings for her. And Fatima's, temper is on high. So she was like, I don't care. Get your hands off me. Leave me alone. And he eventually let her go and she left. Now, Miss DEJA, this girl is too much. She sneaks up. She's, goes to the same gym. She was like, oh, I seen what happened and whatever. And, trying to get at Zach, of course, thinking she can flirt her way into his heart. And she calls over her friends and she's pushing the issue, wanting her to help him work out. And, I don't have the rent this month. And I'm like, here we go. And Fatima said that she's going to not have the rent one day and she's going to want some favors. And she thinking she can do some things to him to, I guess, in order not, to compensate for the rent. And he was like, we're not going to go there. It's time to be straight up with you and you're going to have to stop what you're doing. And of course, she's trying to flex in front of her girlfriends, making like it's more than what it is. And he was like, you just got to stop this. And, because this is going to be problems. He just got into something with Fatima. And little do she know, Fatima is still there. Now, here we have old Quincy. He good, Q. He's at the house still. And, has some woman there and sits down to talk to Calvin, just really wanting to piss Calvin off because he knows he shouldn't be there. He knows what he did and he doesn't care. And he's pushing those buttons with Calvin. Calvin's upset and it's just, a very bad, sticky situation. But Q knows that Calvin really can't do anything because that's not his place. And now that he knows that Maurice is in jail, and he tried to play it off like, he really didn't know, but he said something and slipped up. And Calvin really knows he probably has something to do with this, but he just can't prove it right now. And his whole thing is, and like, what you going to do about it? How the situation happened with, them getting arrested. He doesn't know the details of the setup with Maurice and this message that he had on him. But he's like, bottom line, he said, you don't care about, what's going on with them. You don't care about, their situation. And he's like, no. And there's nothing you can do about it. And he's basically, that's the truth. He can't. And so the whole idea of Maurice and Sabrina locked up and he has something to do about it and he has to live in this house with this man is infuriating, I'm sure. But I can't wait till they get to the details of how he did this. And it really comes up that, Quincy, Q needs to go back to jail. I think his name is Quincy. Q needs to go to jail and replace Maurice and Sabrina. And I can't wait for this to go get straightened out because this is a train wreck. So he leaves all smug with his little comments, and Calvin had this guy waiting in the wings to change the locks. Now we can see from the preview, for those of you who've seen the episode, he's evidently going to get back in the apartment. I mean, he's a criminal. He want to know how to get back in. But it's frustrating, so he's thinking that's a way to get Q out by locking him out. Now, back at the gym, Miss DEJA is talking about, I guess how sexy and fine Zach is and how, she wants, doing what she got to do and, making her little stripper moves, I guess, on how she going to get Zach. But old girl doesn't know that Fatima is there changing her clothes and was like, what did you say? Who are you referring to? And she know exactly who she was talking to. And I'm like, DEJA, you don't want none of this smoke. So, she laughing it off, not knowing who Fatima is and who she's connected with. So she's looking at her girls and she was like, okay, evidently this chick gonna have to learn the hard way. This is one of the biggest mistakes Zach could have did, was letting this girl have the apartment. So one of the girls went out when they saw Fatima, attacking DEJA, and ran out and told somebody come and help. And so Zach knew it was Fatima. So he comes in and he's like, look, I'm not getting involved because Fatima is looking like, I know you're not about to defend this chick. It's your fault. I'm dealing with her. And he was like, no, I'm on your side. Like, calm down, because he knows she can really hurt her. She's smashing her arm inside the locker, banging that crap up. She could be brought up on some assault charges, but that's neither here nor there right now, but that could happen. So Zach is trying to get her to calm down. She doesn't want this girl hurt more than she is. She is a tenant. She's under a lease for 6 months. But with Zach, I'm like, Zach, shut up. He's trying to defend her, checking on her. And she like, you better bring your ass on. Like, come on. And he just want to say, rent is still due on the 1st. Because, she talking about she ain't got the money for the rent. So I'm like, oh, God, here we go. So back at Karen's. Now, Karen's mom is taking care of her. And Pam comes by to check on Mom. And Mom's like, how you doing? Pam, what are you doing here? She was like, I'm just coming to check on my girl. And she was like, I know you, Pam. Do not bring any problems to her. She doesn't need the stress. And Pam promised Linda that, she's not going to do that. She just wants to check on her before work. She was like, okay. So she takes the linen and stuff that Linda was going to bring in, and she takes it to her to see how her girl is doing. So Karen tells her that she's feeling pretty good, and her mom basically doesn't want her to do anything. She got her on bed rest because that's what moms do. So, she's getting her little call from her little boo, and, I guess telling him she'll call him back. Pam is so funny. But now, she sits down and she talks to Karen, and she said, Karen asking her, and I'm like, seriously, did you say something to Aaron? Like, this whole situation, like, how did Aaron know I was at the hospital? Karen, just be happy the man is concerned. You was involved with him, and he is a possible chance he's your child's father. And she's like, no, I did not. I didn't do that. But didn't you say he knew someone at the hospital? Duh, that wasn't that long ago that you had an exam by this woman with Aaron, Karen, and you forgot that connection so soon. And she's like, oh, wow, that's right. That's probably how. And then, Pam's like, isn't that against the hip hop law? And she's like, hip hop law? I'm like, Karen, Pam, you unbelievable. And Karen's like, HIPAA law, not hip hop. She was like, yeah, that is against it. And it really is. So she was like, what did you do, Karen? What did you do? And she's saying, she didn't do anything, but she know the situation with cursing Fatima out. So she was telling her, take care. These are some things that I want you to take care of at the shop. And of course, Pam's acting like she's taking notes, but she ain't taking no notes. She look at her phone and is like, you ain't took down a thing, girl. But we know Pam is a mess, but she'll do what she need to do. Now, in the meantime, here we have Linda on the phone with Aaron, letting him know, and Zach, she's going to call him too, that you need to come over, for a dinner here, and we're going to air out some things and have a talk with Karen. And Zach is coming too. She was like, wow, I hope that's not a problem. We don't want him stressed out. She was like, no, it's going to be okay. So she's on the phone with Zach, and she's telling Zach to come over. Now, Zach is not in the best frame mind with that, especially with what him and Fatima is going through. And I don't really think it's Linda's place to say, bring your girlfriend. Now, I don't know the timeline between the engagement on Fatima and this with Sistas, how it coincides. I don't know if they're engaged already on here or not. More than likely so, I'm thinking. But she's telling Linda's telling Zach to bring her. She thinks it's important. Now, as his fiance, I think it is important. Now, Karen is really going to lose it and be stressed out and have to stay on bed rest once she finds out they're engaged. But he's like, oh boy, he's really not for it. He was like, Fatima's not coming, but I'll be there. So she was like, okay. Now, putting in the comments, what do you think? Do you think Fatima should come? You think that was Linda's place to suggest that, or what? I'd like to hear from you. So Andi is talking to Dani, because that's her girl. I'm really seeing Dani's compassion and love for Sabrina, just love for all her friends. And sometimes, she gets the short end of the stick from the sisters. They always laughing or ridiculing Dani for whatever reason, but she's a diehard to the end. And Dani's like, really, I don't have any information right now. He's, Gary's in with someone and I really can't handle it. So, Dani's really stressed that Andi can't do anything right now. She's losing it. She's upset. She's like, what's going to happen? She probably thought that she would talk to Robin by now, but it's not happening. Now, the pièce de résistance. Oh, the nail in the coffin. When Dani finds out that this new employee, Q, is the one who is causing the problems and has her girl locked up. Q got this job from the Fed guy at the airport to take Zach's place in his old position. And, Dani's really not in the mood for this. The man basically left Q with her. I'm like looking at Q like, you need to be behind bars, and here you go with Sabrina's friend, which is crazy. He doesn't know that, but it's sick, the situation. But, she really doesn't want to hear from him. He's trying to make small talk. Of course, he's going to flirt with her. And she's like, listen, why do men think because a woman doesn't want their compliments that, oh, you never heard stuff like this from a man before? No, bruh. It's not that she didn't hear comments. She don't want them from you. And she's just not in the right headspace right now. So stop thinking she's some bitter woman or she's been jilted in the past not to take your smooth comments. No, she's just not with it, bruh. I don't know why some guys have that kind of attitude. But if we don't want to be bothered, we just don't want to be bothered, bruh. Especially not with you. So she smiles now because she sees this guy who she helped before with his child's mother. And of course, bruh, gives her his business card to go, out and talk. And I'm like, something about in this guy's eyes, I'm not trusting. So she takes the card and we see later on she calls him up. Now, Dani is here with Fatima at the office. She's upset. She's stressed. Andi wants to know what's going on. She's telling, they having a little sister chat, and it comes out that, she's pissed off with your girl Karen. She called me a B, all out my name. She's like, what? Yeah. And I'm not going to be too many bitches. And so Dani's pretty shocked, but she was like, enough is enough with this drama when it comes to Karen. And now, what do you think? Put in the comments, this whole situation with Dani and Fatima being friends, Karen and her being longtime friends, from college. I'd say that Andi is always going to be number one for Karen. She tries to be, fair. But in the end, Fatima has to watch how much she says to Andi because she is Karen's friend first. But Andi, tries to be a good friend to both. But it's really, it's a sticky situation. So she tells her, we at work, so let's get back to work. And she says, yeah, I am. So Andi picks up the phone. Her and Karen talks, and she finds out that she was in the hospital, that she was bleeding, but now she's on bed rest. And Andi can't believe it. She was like, you okay? She said yes. And she was really, concerned about her well-being. This whole situation with Zach and Fatima and everything that's going on, and her saying the wrong thing, and she knows that you called her out her name, and Andi's just really concerned when it comes to Karen, and Karen saying she understands, but she knows how she feels. She knows the situation when she came to Zach and Fatima's place, and it just trying to rectify all that is just hard for Karen. So mom comes in Karen's room and talks to her about how she's doing and how she's coming along with the letters. And she gives her something to eat. And, like a mom does. And it's really great that she has her mom there because she really needs her right now. And she tells her, I know it's going to be hard. Because she said, it's difficult putting this all on paper, getting her feelings out. I know with me, it's good when I see something in writing, because you can really, visually see everything. So when you talk to that person, you can just go by what's on that paper. You don't have to worry about emotions. not saying they won't come up, but you'll get everything out that you wanted to say and how you wanted to say it. And so mom said, well, get ready because they coming over. She like, are you serious? And she said, yeah, I invited the girlfriend. She said, Mom, you can't be inviting that woman to my house, which is wrong. Like, it's a bad situation. You know how Karen still feels about Zach, and to see, talk with the men, but now have to deal with Fatima. It's really a lot. And I think she should sit this one out right now and just deal with the men. And her and Zach and Fatima can have another conversation later. That's my opinion. Put in the comments what you think. Now, Fatima's at the job working, and she gets a call from Zach. And she really doesn't want to be stressed with the situation right now, trying to focus on work. But he's like, I'm here. I need to talk to you. He doesn't want to leave things bad. He values the relationship they have, and he wants to smooth things over. So she said, come up. I guess I think they're meeting in the lounge or something, break room. And he's saying, please, you still mad at me? Don't be mad. And she was like, I'm not going to be called all kinds of names. You're going to have to handle that. He was like, I am. And, if you good with it, I'm supposed to be going over there tonight. Miss Linda called. She's really good people. And she invited you. And Fatima's like, hell no, I'm not going over there. So he was like, I'm going. And, this is going to be the last time. And she says, I hope it is the last time, because it's a lot they're dealing with. But if he's the father of Karen's baby, it's not going to be the last time, Fatima, that they seeing each other. So you have to be a little bit more understanding with that. But it's just going to have to be a mutual respect all the way around if that's the case. So she was like, okay. And he persuaded her. And, they pretty much cool at this point. So they go out. And here's Hayden like, what you doing here? You ain't supposed to be here. I got a restraining order, don't you? They was like, and both at the same time, like twins. And he's all pissed off. She was like, come on, baby, let's go. And Hayden like, this guy, every time I turn around on my job, he's here. Like, Hayden, get a life. Now, Hayden, the busybody, troublemaker that he is, he comes into Andy's office because he knows that Gary and Robin are in there talking. So she was like, what you want, Hayden? He was like, you not concerned? You not concerned? You know who's in there. And she's like, what? And she was like, you get a kick out of this, right? Like, they hold this whole dynamic on what's going on, because she can't stand Hayden. She was like, yes, I do. But then he takes that little smile off her face when she finds out that Gary is there talking to Robin. And she tried to play it cool, like she's not affected. And she was like, I wonder what they talking about. And she was like, well, that's not, I don't want to hear that. And, basically brushed him off and told him to get out of her office. But deep down inside, Andi is scared. And Andi, you brought this on yourself. Why did you open that Pandora's box and have sex with Gary again? You look like a joke, because you said you were done. You're not good for each other. Then you sleep with him. And then once you open up that door, just a little peek with Gary, now he thinks he has you again. And this whole situation with confronting Robin is what stirred it up. You caused this conflict. And I don't know when Andi is going to learn her lesson once and for all. But Fatima comes in, tells him basically get his ass out of there, and lets her know Gary's in there talking to Robin. And we got a problem. Oh, boy. What is going to happen? You think Robin's going to help her at this point with getting Sabrina out? I'd say not. And will this love triangle, I ain't going to say a love triangle, but just this triangle finally going to be resolved, and they come to some understanding between Karen and her two possible baby daddies? Well, we shall see. Until next time, coming up with episode 5. Peace.